Anne Clark, our little poppet and princess, an angel, a sweetheart, or more or less. As this poem goes on, you're sure to find that there's more to her, you might change your mind. 21 years ago, our life changed forever. Little did we know she'd be beautiful and clever. But let us look back at all those years gone by, times that made us laugh and times that made us cry. Sharon and Glenn, two young naive parents, the worry of a baby, the stress and the torments, all the things we need to learn, hadn't the slightest of clue. What on earth do we do with all this vomit and poo? She then turned in to a ginger punk rocket, so sweet and tiny she'd fit in your pocket. It all started calmly, mainly feed, burp and sleep. Never could we have imagined that it would make us scream, rage and weep. Now, just as we thought we'd been blessed with an angel, 18 months later, oh dear, it turned evil. It started with a grunt and a frustrating moan and turned into fury and a mini cyclone. She may have looked cute in her matching bunches and outfits, but underneath lay a terror in our clutches. To say that she's stubborn, full of spirit and strong-willed is an understatement that will never be filled. We loved every minute, although it was tough and hard. We really are lucky that we're not traumatised and scarred. The terrible twos seemed to go on forever. Everyone who knew her was at the end of their tether. No peace for the wicked, as she liked to disturb. There's nothing she liked more than crawling in a curb. She's lost one of her dummies. She's screaming and wailing. Our blood starts to boil. Everything's failing. Nothing can stop her. She's now in full flow. Hours will pass and still she'll scream, "No!" Don't get me wrong, there was good times too. Just sometimes it seemed Emily belonged in a zoo. At the age of 4, it was now time to leave Barrow. A hometown we loved, we felt sad and sorrow. But exciting times were ahead of us all. Here we come, London, we're gonna have a ball. Beaconsfield Road was our first known address, a flat near the Heath, small but nevertheless. We were all raring to go on our new fun adventure. New home, job and school, Emily loved Invicta. Lots of new friends, Sam, Eva and Jack. It became plain to see that there'd be no turning back. We moved to our beautiful Hassendine Road. Emily's still feisty, the tantrums still flowed. Although our lives were exciting and fun, she'd keep us on our toes, there was nowhere to run. The terrible twos were haunting us still. They lasted till she was 7, it was a long uphill. But finally we saw light at the end of the tunnel. The defiance became less, but here are a couple. The grandparents swearing, the licking of Scaly, early morning rises, I'm hungry and thirsty. She liked to exaggerate and shout, I'd rather. She could press all the buttons on her mother and father. Her favourite holiday has to be Florida. We've been many times, it's the perfect formula. Full of sun, food and shopping and hundreds of rides. Boneless chicken wings and lots more besides. Living the thrills of the Hulk, the Tower of Terror. But on the Jaws ride, doing it was a terrible error. She's still scared of sharks till this very day. Also Captain Hook, can make her turn grey. We've queued many hours for a Disney princess. She's grown out of that, thank goodness. Now, something quite strange happened at the age of 7. She started to chill, an angel from heaven. The horns disappeared, the halo was back. She started to calm down. She was back on track. Was it the start of Blackie's nursery and prep? More new friends, a good school, or just a new step? Whatever the reason, we're not complaining. We embrace a new Emily, no longer draining. For Emily has become a pleasant young girl, lovely to be with, fun, precious as a pearl. Believe it or not, she was very sporty. She enjoyed doing exercise instead of being naughty. Sometimes quite girly, but more of a tomboy. Riding her scooter was a favourite fun toy. Surprised she doesn't have one leg shorter than the other. Racing along, being chased by her mother. Swimming, running, football, gymnastics, energetic, full of beans and mischievous antics. She made people laugh with a comic persona. It was so much more fun than her being a loner. She spent most of her time over the ladder next door, jumping on trampoline, frog hunting and more. Because we moved to our beautiful home in Maze Hill, across from the park, the location is Brill. The feeding of squirrels, the watching of deer, lots of treasured memories are from here. Of Emily, young, bubbly, so full of fun. It doesn't seem long since it all begun. But unfortunately time was moving too quick. No more giving Jamie Cronk lots of stick. Time for her to leave the prep. A sad day for Mum. She'll no longer see her face, learning and having fun. But time to move on and say goodbye to the boys. Blackheath High better get ready for some noise. For Emily is coming. I hope they're prepared. They've accepted her now. Too late to be scared. Only joking. She really is a joy to be taught. Although a little distracting and often got caught. Friendships that blossomed and lasting forever. The twins had been born and separate never. For Georgia Beswick, Emily's sidekick and buddy, would form a bond that wouldn't involve study. Instead it was fun, not needing a fella, because they had Ramsier, Caris and Ella. Time for farewell, goodbye to the high. Boys were wanted, I will not lie. So Emily has a new goal in her sight, Elton College. She's going to have to put up a fight. So she worked like a trooper to secure a place. I'll never forget that smile on her face. For me, this is the time she grew up into a lady, showed maturity, sensibility, responsibility, maybe. Looking good in a suit, she certainly looks smart. I'm bursting with pride, she's melting my heart. Working really hard at the subject she chose. Drama was fab, we loved all the shows. But art was my gift that runs through her genes. Only us two could have fun, threading baked beans. Don't get me wrong, she knows how to have fun, and thanks to Francesca and gang, it all begun. Parties and gatherings, 18ths and balls, Twitter, Snapchat, FaceTime, and the odd phone call. This is the time she passed her driving test. Worked at Rhodes Bakery, lots of bread to digest. So Emily's now reached the very last hurdle. Time for university and the breaking of our family circle. Feelings are mixed, full of pride and despair. As Emily leaves home, she'll no longer be there. Off we go with a car full of stuff. Central Village, here we come. This is going to be tough. We settle her in. We meet her new roomies. Some are quite normal, but some are definite loonies. Now for the goodbyes, the bit I was dreading. For the long drive back to London, we were heading. That empty nest feeling was far worse than I thought. I tried to be brave, the sad emotions I fought. But never fear, because a few weeks later there was a knock at the door. Surprise, it was Emily. I couldn't ask for more. She'd travelled by coach without saying a word. The first I knew was her voice that I heard. So as you can see, she's one of a kind. Thoughtful, compassionate, considerate, you'll find. As time went on, we got used to the fact that uni is good. She learnt things that she lacked. Cooking, washing and a little cleaning. But not as much time as she spent on her preening. Freshers' week, many nights at Halo. Late the next morning, she needed to lay low. The first year seemed to be one nightclub after the next. Meeting lots of celebs, I looked forward to reading her text. There'd only been one real man in her life. He likes to torture, uses guns and a knife. He's on her mind 24 hours. His name is Jack Bauer. How she worships him up in his ivory tower. For years I've heard bipping and a whispering voice coming from her bedroom, her box set of choice. So she's finally realised it's just a crush. And along comes a boyfriend. He's such a lush. And his name is Dan Fox. He's such a nice lad. Can't decide if he's lucky or just plain mad. But study then turned serious as she entered her second year. She had to cut down on partying and get her brain into gear. So off she went to the joys of Thornville Road. She had to learn to live with a toilet that never flowed. The vein of her life, the sunny flow system. This is when she needed her dad and all his wisdom. He rolled up his sleeves, put his hand down the pan. Surely this wasn't part of their plan. From flooded rooms, smoke alarms, beeping and mould, the landlord was rubbish. We were always put on hold. The girls eventually had had enough. Their second year had certainly been tough. So off they travelled to posh Hanover Square. 9 girls all sharing should have been a nightmare. But this gang includes Ellie, Katie and Chi. It was going to be fun if it included these 3. The landlord is great, a kind lady next door. No blockages or leaks, they couldn't ask for more. So Emily is happy, the girls, they're so nice, even if she has to live off beans and rice. She's joined the gym, give up chocolate for Lent, but do not worry, the vodka makes her content. Looking back, the memories of uni were fun, but it's all over now, real life has begun. Time to move back home, be a family again. New beginnings, new chapter, all exciting, then reality hits, the party is over, the prospect of growing up and getting older. Responsibility, a job and paying board, it's all very daunting, it begins to strike a chord. But oh, not to worry, Emily has it in hand, for her future was already waiting and planned. So M&S has seen what we've always seen, loyalty, enthusiasm, ambition, forever keen. So Emily's career started with bread and then beer and moved on to bras, knickers and all sorts of gear. Oh yes, yeah, I have to borrow this. Thanks Meantime Brewery and the fun that she's had. No better job, according to Dad. We'll go and see Emily, he says with a smile. He wants a pale ale, we haven't been for a while. Now it's my turn to visit Emily at work. I fancy a new dress, I say with a smirk. 21 years have gone just like that, but so many fond memories to look back at. That's it. My poem is now up to date. What happens next is all down to fate. But one thing's for certain, if you've got to say, it won't be dull, boring or grey. Because you shine like a star from the heavens above. As soon as we meet you, we fall in love. You're a ray of sunlight on the darkest of days. You're an ocean of blue, of calming waves. Over the years in cards, I've put down in rhyme how you make us feel all of the time. But even with what I've said and I've wrote, nothing comes close to the feelings we don't. You're our world, you're our everything, don't ever forget. It will never change, in stone it is set. Emily, I think I'll stop there, as I know you don't like mush, and finally my poem will come to an end, and thankfully there'll be hush.
Emily, we love you, Poppet.